each stage. But each one of these stages will be connected into Outsystems Lifetime. Now, Outsystems Lifetime out of the box have a set of lifetime APIs which will help you integrate into any existing CI/CD tool. Now, on top of that, we at Outsystems have built an open source Python package which will help you accelerate this integration. So you won't have to learn how to run or orchestrate these APIs. These are all built for you, and this Python package is available on our GitHub. Now, because it is an open source Python package, it can be installed on any operating system. It also can be integrated into any CI/CD tool. Now, today we will be focusing on Jenkins and Azure DevOps, but it is open to any CI/CD tool. Now, we also provide pipeline templates for Jenkins and Azure, so you can easily import them. Not only will this save you time, but it also applies good practice by having a pipeline and source control as code. Okay, so everything making sense so far? All good? So before we go into the demonstration and the more exciting, interesting bits, there's a couple more things that I'd like to touch on. So you may be thinking, as a developer, how do we actually trigger this pipeline? How do we execute this? So in traditional code, you'll have a commit or pull request. But in Outsystems, what you do is your Outsystems developer will be working in Service Studio, they'll make their changes, click the green one-click publish button, and when he's ready to commit his story, what he'll do is he'll go into Lifetime, he'll tag the application with the version number, and that will then trigger the trigger pipeline, meaning on the Outsystems Lifetime. So the trigger pipeline is a forge component, so you can freely get this forge component and install it on Lifetime, so it'll help you set up that pipeline automatically. Now the next thing, at this stage, what we recommend is you do behavior-driven development tests, and we have a BDD framework also available on the Forge. Now, last but not least, in order to dynamically find these tests, you'll need to install the CI/CD probe in the regression environment, and the CI/CD probe is also available on the Forge, all freely available. Now, we're not going to go into too much detail on testing in Outsystems in this particular session, but if you're interested in knowing a little bit more about testing for Outsystems, we do have a session running at 11:30 with our colleagues Marlene and Suzanne, so be free to join that session if you're interested. Okay, so let's get into the interesting bits, to the demo. So our colleague João here, he's going to be wearing multiple hats. So the first hat he's kindly put on is the head of a developer. So what he's going to be doing is he's responsible for managing this case or managing the case management application that we're going to be delivering to the business. He's also responsible for making sure that we write automated tests for this application and making sure that those tests pass in regression, and if necessary, going back, changing the code, fixing the code, and publishing it again. So, João, will you give us an idea what a day in a development, a life in a development in Outsystems is?
Sure, well, thank you. Before this presentation, me as developer, I done a user story. So after I've done it, of course, we developed the automated tasks. The first thing that I will do was a tag. I tag my application on Wi-Fi. That will trigger my pipeline, and me now as a developer responsible for the CI part, ensure that all tests passed, and we have a new artifact available to be deployed later in production. I should be responsible to see all the tests passing in the regression environment. So the first thing that I will do now is to see if all tests passed in my cases app, okay? So I will show you now the Jenkins, and let's move on. Here are my cases pipeline, and I would like to understand, let me zoom a little bit more, if my test passed or not. I'm seeing something yellow here. Oh, seems that I have a test failing in regression. So after deployment to regression environment, this pipeline runs all the regression tests, and as you can see here, there's something failing. Yes, it's a test done in BDD, and is related to discarded. So something was expecting to have discarded in this use case, but it's not. So now me as a developer, I should fix this. And in order to fix this, I will go to Service Studio. Let me open the Service Studio. Here are my applications. I'll open the Cases app, and I will fix this. Here we are. So here's my action about this card use case. Is something wrong probably with this set status? Of course, I know what is happening here. So this is closed, but actually the status of this should be discard, of course, because we are talking about discard use case. So now that I fixed this, I will publish this application to my development environment. So while it's running, I can go to lifetime. Here we are, and search for the cases application. And I will get a new version here in a moment. And synchronizing. And I will tag this new version with my fix. So that's me up here, information, fix, discard use case. Done. As Paul said, this should trigger our pipeline that is configured in Jenkins. For demo purpose, I will go into trigger pipeline plugin installed already in this lifetime, and I will trigger the pipeline manually. Here we are. So I'll trigger this pipeline, and now I can go to Jenkins, and I should have a new build here. It's running. Okay, while it's running, let's go back to our presentation to show you what is happening behind the scenes. So, me as a developer, I did the one CP, and we get a new version in development environment. Lifetime knows about it, then me as a developer, I go into Lifetime and tag this new version. Trigger pipeline, because it's configured in that way, it will trigger the cases pipeline. Of course, in this scenario, I have triggered it manually, but you can configure it using the timer and Service Center of Lifetime to trigger it automatically every time you have tags inside your pipeline. So the first thing the trigger pipeline will do is, of course, trigger the pipeline in Jenkins, and the cases pipeline will fetch the configuration of my pipeline from my repository. In this case, I'm using Git, and it will fetch all the configurations of my pipeline, all the steps that should happen inside my pipeline. Everything is configured in GitHub, so we have a pipeline as code, and in this case, a Jenkins file. So the first thing that it will do is to call our Python package that orchestrates all the lifetime APIs. And the first thing will happen is to install this new version in regressions. Then the trigger, the Python package will understand what tests should run and fetch the results. And everything, if everything passed here, it will deploy in the acceptance environment. In the acceptance environment, you can have your product owner seeing if everything is okay. You can have your testers or the business representative understanding if it's okay. And if it's okay, they can approve it. They can approve this new release to reach production. And before that, we can do some smoke tests in pre-production, installing pre-production to ensure that my deployment plan will reach production smoothly with no problems. And that's it for pre-production. Then after pre-production, my new version reached production. Now, how to set up this?
Okay, so João, it almost seems like we're in a baking show or something like that, because we've got a show in the UK called The Great British Bake Off, where the contestants have to explain to the judges and the audience what they're doing when they're preparing a cake, kind of similar to what we're doing. They prepare the cake, they tell them what's in the ingredients, then they put it into the oven and wait for the end result, similar to what we're doing as well. Okay. Interesting?
Yeah.
So João's going to now change his hat as well as change his hairstyle, grow a bit of hair, and he's now a DevOps engineer, and he's responsible for enabling the CI/CD process. He's going to ensure the delivery process is fully automated and also approve any new versions in production.
Thank you, Paul. So now me with the long hair, I will explain to you how you can set up all this using Jenkins. Almost from scratch, I already done some pre-requirements. Before that, I should say that all this receipt is available in our GitHub repository. So it's time for you to take pictures. Okay, everything is there, including the Outsystems pipeline Python package that will help you to orchestrate all the lifetime APIs. Currently, this package is available for you as read-only. Of course, you can fork it, but we have planned to open for you to contribute to set pull requests from you. Without further ado, let me explain to you how to set up. Of course, I will go right away to Jenkins. Here we are. Let me open the administration. And I already did some pre-requirements here, like the credentials. I already did the credential setup here. For instance, the lifetime service account token and the Git credentials, of course. And also the Python agent is also installed here. I have another application that I will set up now. It's called My App. So I will create here a new pipeline for My App. Yeah. That will be a pipeline. And here we are. So as I said to you, I will use Git to fetch all my configurations right away here. I need my Git URL. Let me open it for you. Here is my Git. So, and here's my pipeline defined. So let me zoom in a little bit for you to understand what can be a pipeline code here. So the first thing that I will do here, the first step, we will install the Python package. Here we have it. So the Python package is available in PyPyOR. Every time we have a stable version, we publish this package in PyPyOR. Then you can do this, install it as we are showing here. Of course, then one of the steps, we'll do the deploy to regression, and we'll use the Python. So that abstracts all the lifetime APIs to accelerate this configuration. On top, we have two types of variables configured here. The environment variables, where we have like the environment names, what is the token that should be used to the lifetime service account token, and we also have some parameters that trigger pipeline will use to pass information about what are the application scope, what should be the applications inside this pipeline, and also what are the applications that just represent BDD tests. Why this is important? Because at the end of the day, we don't want to have those applications that just have BDD tests reaching production. We just want to have those reaching regression environment and no more further than that. And of course, who triggered it. So now let me go back here and get the URL and put it here, story, and of course, what is the package, the name of the URL. And save. Pretty much done. We can start the pipeline here, but it will have an error, of course, because I'm not passing information about what applications should be run here. As I show you, we have some parameters configured. But one thing very interesting here is, if I go back to the configuration, as you can see, we have no parameters here configured. I have not configured in Jenkins. I just have those parameters in my GitHub. So from Jenkins side, we are done. Let's go to lifetime. As I said, we have my app here. Here we have it, my app and my app tests. And I will create a new trigger for this pipeline. A new pipeline. I will add my app pipeline name. Should be the same that we have in Jenkins. And I will use the same configurations to trigger the pipeline as we have for cases app. I will select here, of course automatically it will detect that my app test is the one that should not go further than regression environments, so that's why we have these toggles here. And I will save this configuration. Now I can right away use this. As pre-requirements, don't forget you need to install the trigger pipeline. It's available on our forks, and also the CI/CD probe that will understand what tests should run in this scope in regression. Let me put the head for a bit for about as a developer. Now I can do exactly the same that I did for cases and see this being used. I have not configured this. I have not configured the timer. I'm triggering a new version of my app, and as you can see here, let me open the Blue Ocean view. Here we have it. And it will. So the first thing, as I was explaining, is going to regression and do all the work that we are doing in the cases. Let's go back to our presentation. So do you remember cases app? Me as a developer, before I trigger my pipeline with a fix, because I have a new use case that should reach production, the discard use case, and seeing that we have a new version to approve, my product owner is saying that I have a new version to approve. This might saying that all the tests passed, and someone, business representative, testers, and also the product owner have to check that in the acceptance environment. Let's go to, something is stopped in my cases pipeline. Yeah, right. As I was saying, all tests passed, right? And I have now to accept or not this new version. So my product owner said that they evaluated this new version in the acceptance environment. Now I can proceed and accept this new change. Okay, so it will deploy in production and then in production while this is cooking. Let's go back to our presentation. So how about Azure DevOps? Do we have time?
So, a few minutes left, so let's touch on Azure DevOps.
Again, everything, all the steps are in our GitHub repository. I will pass through the main steps. I'm not going into detail. The details are here. I will just explain you what are the main steps, what you should be aware of. On the Outsystems side, it's roughly the same as I did for Jenkins. In this case, we already have the Azure DevOps flavor inside the trigger pipeline, so you can use. In Azure DevOps side, we have the pipeline, the CI/CD pipeline in Azure is a combination of build and the release pipeline. So the first thing that I will do is to configure the build. That in fact is our CI part that if all the tests passed in regression, we should have a new artifact in Azure DevOps. Should be good to be used in the release. So to create a build pipeline, we can use, again, pipeline as code, and we can fetch configuration from GitHub or other source control. And the pipeline as code in this case is a YAML file. We have an example over there in our GitHub that you can use. And it's pretty much done. Of course, you know the guys here that know about Azure DevOps. You need to have a self-host agent to run your pipeline, etc. But the main step about the integration with Outsystems is that one: create a build to have a new artifact after you have all tests passed seen in regression. After this, we'll configure the release part. That is composed by acceptance, pre-production, and production. So in this case, we don't have yet, we don't have this feature in the Azure DevOps to have pipeline as code. So in this case, in our repository, you can use JSON that has all the tasks to deploy a new version in a specific environment. So you can use to not adding all the tasks to call the Python package. You just to import it to Azure DevOps. And one thing that you should do, of course, is I will trigger this release pipeline every time I have a new artifact from the build pipeline. Okay? Then I will create the first stage here that will be the deploy to acceptance, and I will use, as presented there, my JSON that has the steps to deploy new version in this case to acceptance. Because the pre-production and production are similar to acceptance in terms of doing the deploy, I can clone this stage and configure for pre-production and production. One last step, add an approver after the acceptance. Here, how you can do it, I can add my product owner there, for instance, to approve every time we have a new version before it reaches production, and it's done. These are the main steps, how you can configure a pipeline using Outsystems and Azure DevOps. Here's some runs. I tag my version, okay, and then I go to the trigger pipeline. I trigger the Azure flavor. So in the Azure, you can have a new build. There, it's something failed, and it's again one test that was failing. Someone. Before this run, I have a different run with success. And as you can see, all the tests passed. And it triggered the release pipeline. And in fact, will do all the deployments until production. Every time we have a new artifact from the build, it will run the release part. Now, do you remember about Nextstep? That he configured using Jenkins? Does it reach production? Let's see. I'm seeing something here. I was too fast. Yes, I was a little bit too fast in my presentation. It's still deploying to production. Let me see here in lifetime. Yeah, it's being deployed. And it's being deployed in production. So it will finish right away, and we have a new version in production. Let me recap for you here what I did. The first time, as you probably remember, I did this first run as a developer. I completed new user story of my cases app. Then I run my pipeline. I realized that I have a test failing. And then I fix it. I tag my new version with that fix and trigger the pipeline. And it's being passed all in the regression test, deployed into the Acceptance environment. Someone approved this version for production. It was deployed pre-production, and it's now being deployed to production. We should have a green in a few seconds. And that's it. Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks, João. Yeah, so I'm hoping that everyone saw the benefit of the integration of Outsystems Lifetime to your existing CI/CD utility, specifically using today Jenkins and Azure DevOps. But also I'm hoping everyone saw the benefit from not only from a developer, DevOps engineer, where you'll have a fully automated pipeline within just a few minutes, which will also help reduce any human errors, but also from a developer's point of view, where you can assure quality through a faster feedback loop. So with the automated tests built into the CI/CD pipeline. So with that, give it a try. Like João mentioned, that all the components are either available on Open GitHub, either on the Forge. So download them, give them a try. They're all free of charge, no additional cost. And give us some feedback. So rate it if you like it or not. And also contribute. So you are able to contribute to the Forge. It's an open community marketplace, so you can contribute at any stage. Right, any questions?
Thank you.